Thank you for tuning in to the Raymond Hall Show. I'm your host, Raymond Hall. We're going to have a smaller version of the Raymond Hall Show today. We're going to have about 30 minutes or so worth of programming. We've got in studio, we have in-studio guests with me, a dear friend, Derek. He's going to the Chief Executive Officer of Focus to Hypnosis, and he has extended that program to address one of the issues that is one of the biggest health challenges that people have, and that's smoking. So you have the smoking cessation. And we're also going to have with us calling in, we're going to have author Shirley Ann Jenkins, and she's quite accomplished, and we're going to be talking with her briefly. So let's get right to it. Talk to us about, he's no stranger to this show, so just talk to us about the extension to smoking, addressing the smoking cessation.
Yes. At Focus to Hypnosis, we have what's called our smoking cessation program, and it's a 6-week program. And during that 6 weeks, what we end up doing is identifying what type of smoker the person is. There's actually 2 different types of smokers. So one is, as you were saying earlier in our conversation, identity smoker. And that usually happens like early in life.
Right.
And then later in life, you have what's called a replacement smoker. So it's important to identify what type of smoker they are, find what we call the smoking habit hooks. So do you smoke when you drink? Do you smoke when you do coffee? Do you smoke when you take a break? And so during the program, we end up identifying those hooks, but then breaking the association with them. And then it's a step-by-step program because 30% of people who smoke can actually quit on their own.
Wow.
The other 70% is actually a subconscious negative emotion or habit or need that they're fulfilling. And so throughout hypnosis, we're able to identify what is that negative need? What is that negative emotion that smoking is satisfying? Okay. And once we're able to identify that, then we're able to turn that negative emotion or negative feeling or thought into a positive one. And then through hypnosis, we're able to help break that and get them out of the need to smoke.
To smoke, right. I was just sharing earlier that my mother could tell me the exact day and time she quit. And I don't remember my mother going through any kind of program or anything like that. And I thought that was just really odd that she could remember the day and the time that she quit. And there came a point in my life when I quit smoking cigarettes, and I can remember that day and time when I quit as well. And I didn't need a program, but mine was a totally different situation. I had to quit, So, we know much more now today than we did back then, because also, as we was talking, there was a time when in the C-rats, now they got the ready meal, whatever they call it now.
MREs.
The MREs, okay. Well, back in the day, they called them C-rats.
C-rats.
Okay, and you had the little meal and the little cookie and the little whatever it was, bean and weenies, whatever it was. I won't call the name of the eggs and the, But it was a little pack of cigarettes in there.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yes, it was had 4 cigarettes in it, and it was either the Camels or Pall Malls or something in there. But then in the 70s, when they said the smoking lamp was lit, everybody fell out and smoked. That's what I remember about part of that training in the Marine Corps. I mean, you had some people that didn't smoke, but for the most part, everybody went out and smoked.
Smoked, right.
Yeah. So, we hear all of the numbers, and I am just so excited that you've extended services in Focus to Hypnosis that include addressing smoking.
Yeah. You said something earlier. You said that you quit because you had to.
Right.
And that's one of the things, too, that we focus on is why now? Most people who have the habit have had it for a long time. And so it's important to find out the why now. sometimes people want to quit because their doctor is telling them to quit, or because their spouses or their families are, constantly harassing them and getting on them. You need to quit. You need to quit. But the thing is, if the person needs to want to quit, if you're trying to quit for any other reason and other than I want to quit,
it doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
Your why has to be bigger than why you shouldn't smoke.
Yeah. When I started feeling ill, you start eliminating things. Well, maybe if I quit drinking this whiskey, I'll feel better. Okay. And I remember I held on to the cigarettes, and then I said, well, maybe if I quit smoking cigarettes. And I noticed that every time I'd smoke a cigarette, I just would have these things where it was hard for me to breathe. So I said, that's it. I'm going to quit smoking cigarettes. And that's exactly what I did. Okay. So it's a 6-week program.
Yes, it's a 6-week program, and a quick overview of the program is you have to sign a contract. It's a non-smoker's contract, and so the contract is between myself and the client. It's something in the subconscious mind that when you sign a contract, it's kind of like it holds you a little more responsible than just I'm going to quit. So now it becomes official. Throughout the sessions, the typical sessions, we have a cognitive portion of the session. And what that does is we talk about your challenges, your reasons for wanting to quit, et cetera, et cetera. And then we use a process called the triple column process, which basically break down like any negative talk and changing it to positive talk. We use dream therapy and then hypnotherapy. And then we also give a recording of the session throughout the week.
So they get to hear at a later point what you all talked about in that session.
Yes.
To see if they are still living up to what was talked about.
Well, no, they listen to it to go to sleep. So it's kind of like to reinforce what was said in the hypnosis. And what I like about my program is that it's progressive. Like a lot of programs go say, hey, stop smoking. Well, a lot of people can't go cold turkey, especially when you're trying to satisfy. So in the program, you're actually able to smoke. And each week it's lessened and lessened.
Now, where does that fit with the other things that they have out there, the patches and those kind of things? How does it?
Yeah,
a lot healthier, I'm sure, because you put with that patch. We don't know. I don't know what's in the patch.
I think they. I don't use that in my program. I think they use the idea. Like when people sometimes are on meth, and then they'll give them methadone, which is a little less, but they still kind of addicted. I think that's the thing with the patch.
Right.
Is give them a certain amount of nicotine.
Just a different way.
Right. But there's no need in my program to have the patch because you're actually going to get to smoke.
Right.
It's just progressively you're going to lessen it up to the point that by the time you get to the 6th week, you're not even going to have the desire or the want to smoke, and you're smoking to quit instead of smoking for pleasure.
Yeah,
which is different.
I try to be tolerant, but it is something when you walk behind someone that's smoking, and or you have to walk through an area where people have just gotten through smoking, and that smell just lags there. And the other thing that's a consideration is I noticed that I look at the faces of seniors that, it's really discomforting to them, people who don't smoke, to have to deal with someone else's smoke.
Right.
So I think it is something that's really, really needed. Now, does it work for everybody? Does it work for seniors, veterans?
Oh yeah. I mean, seniors, veterans, people are people,
Yeah.
And we teach the concept of what we call theory of mind, of how the brain actually works. And 88% of what we do is actually subconscious. Only 12% is conscious. And so when you look at that, the average person, and I know you're above average, has over 60,000 thoughts a day. So if you have to be conscious to make 60,000 different decisions a day, you know, you'd be insane, right?
Yeah.
So the way that the mind is set up is 88% of that decision-making process is automatic.
Yeah. You know, I'm a follower of Mel Robbins, the 54321 lady.
I'm not familiar with her.
She, oh my gosh, she's incredible. She tells this life story about how things weren't going that well, and she saw this rocket ship take off, and she says that's what she's going to do. She's going to take off. She, you know, in the morning, she's going to get up and take off like a rocket and get it done and those kind of things. And she talked about how at first she just used to use it for certain things but didn't use it for others. And now she talks about how she's able to be with her children, be with her daughter when she, at one time, she could not be with her,
Right.
and those kind of things. So I met a young man, about a week or so ago, and he too was one that read her books and followed her thought and things. And he was telling me that he used the 54321 theory to get rid of the smoking sensation.
Okay.
Now, the question is, when you do something like that, is that something that's going to last? Or is it something that if you forget to do 54321 and move on to another thought? He was saying that he'll have a thought to smoke, and then he'll go 54321, think about something else, move himself to something else, and he doesn't think about smoking anymore.
Right. Well, yeah, smoking is a habit.
Okay.
And so most of our habits are subconscious. We don't even think about it. So
Okay.
the whole idea through doing it via hypnosis is to change the habit or the behavior pattern on the subconscious level. And on the subconscious level, then it's like it's habit. So in order for you to actually smoke, it's really a conscious decision to do it because the pattern has
Even
been
though it's a
changed.
habit.
Yeah. But I'm saying, like, once the habit has been broken, like, you can go around cigarettes and you won't have any problems. You know, you can make the decision still not to smoke.
Yeah.
But
It doesn't even, it's not even a concern with me about smoking. It's just the smell of it is something that makes me want to move out of the way. We are going to come right back with Mr. Derek Williams talking about smoking cessation, and one of the things that's offered there at Focus 2 Hypnosis. We're going to take a minute, though, to do some housekeeping. There's a young lady that I'm quite proud of. Her name is Tiana, and they call her Ms. T with the MZ. She goes to Southwest College, and she's got a number of things, plays and productions that she's involved in. And what caught my attention, you know, anything that's got to do with seniors catches my attention. She, no matter what's going on in her life, she spends a lot of time taking care of her mom. Her mom
Nice.
is in a place now where she needs care. And so she is there, even with the school and even with all the other things going on in her life. And she has written and produced some of these little plays. So you get a chance to hear of her now, you know, just know that she's an up and coming, and her work is just really, really good. You know, it's just good to go back. And Southwest College is like my old college anyway, you know, so it's good to go on campus and then see some of the stuff that the younger people are doing there. We did attend the gravesite service and the homegoing service for Mr. Joe Freeman Sr., and really remarkable man. 96 and a half, might as well say 97 years. And we told his story here last week about how he had worked 37 years without a day off, and, you know, 5 of those years he worked 2 jobs. But he also started companies, and some of the stuff that he did is still with us today. The city of Carson sent him proclamation and that kind of thing. So it was just wonderful to hear about this man that received 2 Bronze Stars for valor back in 1945.
Wow.
Yeah, they wasn't handing them things out.
Yeah, no, you got to
Not to
earn
the
those.
brothers anyway. So I never met the man. I just heard his voice, and his daughter is quite accomplished, Shirley Ann Jenkins, and we're looking for her to be on the show one way or the other someday. Coming up soon, we will have volunteers, someone to come to us and talk to us from Volunteers of America to talk about reentry from incarceration. And we will also have different people come in and talk to us about what's going on with the children in school, mentoring programs, and that's the LAUSD has, and those kind of things. So keep watching, keep looking, keep supporting, keep liking. We're going to talk about things that everyone is talking about. We may touch on some of the things, but the things that's important, the thing that this show is about service, okay? And we have a caller, so we are going to see who's on the line. Good afternoon. You're on the Raymond Hall Show.
Hello there. Mr. Raymond Hall.
Yes.
This is Shirley Jenkins speaking.
We just called your name on the show. We
Why,
are so
I'm
fortunate,
sure.
ladies and gentlemen, and everyone that's listening to and looking at the show. We actually have the author and production, and she just does so many things in the short time that I've gotten to know her. So, Shirley, tell us a little bit about your dad, and then tell us a little bit about what it is that you do.
Well, actually, in reference to my dad,
Mm-hmm.
I would like to say on his behalf to give you appreciation from my family and gratitude for you acknowledging our father, Joe Freeman Sr., veteran of the World War II. And we thank you for giving him a senior salute. If I may say briefly about what happened when you yourself, Mr. Hall, was in emergency VA emergency hospital bed, you heard my dad and me speaking. And my dad said with his heart that he never had nobody say to him, thank you. And I didn't know that you had heard that, because I was saying, Dad, I thank you. He said, no, not you, daughter. I know you love me. But to make a long story end on a good note, I just want to say for my father, because when you took the stand for another veteran as yourself, being a man of valor, and said, thank you, Mr. Freeman. We, the community, country, family, thank you. My dad was so excited that I read this to him. He smiled, he laughed, and then he passed away shortly thereafter. So, but what I want to say is that to you, Mr. Hall, being a type of man that you are, you seem to be a dynamic, remarkable, amazing veteran with integrity, showing love for your fellow veterans and people, seniors, those that don't get a chance to hear the word thank you. I want to say to you, thank you. Not only for my father, acknowledging him, but to many others that are serving other people, such as the people that you invite on your show. Thank you, Mr. Raymond Hall. And I am the author of The Inner Self Soul Control, which is a motivational, inspirational book. And I was listening to one of your last guests about smoking.
Right.
And I just want to have a little laugh with you guys. My dad, Joe Freeman Sr., when he talked about smoking himself, he said he smoked for 50 years. I said, well, Dad, how did you stop? He said, well, daughter, you just have to have that stopping sense. I said, what is stopping sense?
Right.
And Dad said it's called self-control. I went, oops.
Oh, okay. That does work, doesn't it? Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
stopped.
Wow. Wow.
So I just want to say thank you for the senior salute that you gave to my dad. And I'm excited about the people sharing and helping other people of the community and all your guests. Thanks again for having me on your show. God bless you, and truly may prosperity continue to follow.
Well, thank you so very much, and I want you all to know I did not pay her for her to say those nice things. Shirley, thank you so very much. We look forward to you being in studio with us sometimes. And to the listening audience, she is a remarkable person, author, dynamic when it comes to the Word of God and understanding the Word of God and sharing it. So we all are blessed by her dad, and that kind of thing. So thank you very much, and we look forward to talking with you and having you here in the studio.
But thanks for the invite. I will be there.
Okay, bye-bye.
Have an awesome day. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Okay, yeah, that was nice. Yeah, I never met him. I never saw his face. Okay.
Just heard his voice.
Just heard his voice.
Wow.
And people didn't understand. You know, you and I are veterans, and last week we had 3 veterans on the show. But if for the audience, if you don't understand it, we all know about the Tuskegee Airmen, the pilots. Mm-hmm. We know. We can look at the pilots. Oh yes, those are the Tuskegee Airmen, and we know with the Red Ball Express and all of those divisions that at that time were black divisions or black troops or however you want to look at it. So you know about the driver and you know about the pilot, but it took so many people we don't know about. The people that used to have to change them great big tires on the truck. Yeah. The people that could drop that transmission in that big deuce and a quarter, deuce and a half, whatever it was, because that big old truck that we used to ride around in. And the people that could pull a airplane engine out just like that. We never hear their name. Mm-hmm. And so that's what Mr. Freeman Sr. was talking about. Nobody, never, even though he was the recipient of 2 Bronze Stars, okay, for valor, no one came and told him, thank you. And that's some of the knowledge that we have here at the Raymond Hall Show, and that's why we do the senior salute. Sometimes it's not that people are being mean, they just don't know. Right. You know, they didn't, people don't know what he's talking about. What do you mean they never said thank you? Here's a man that started several companies and hired people, put people to work, and some of the companies, the remnants of those companies are still in existence today. So we did something that we had never done. A senior salute is always done in person in the paper. You know how it goes, right. And we get the core there. And I just said, we're going to have to do something a little different. So we extended the senior salute that now if we hear about someone who should receive a salute and who may be transitioning and passing on, then we will be able to look at it, document it, and then once the board looks at it and says, okay, yes, we authorize this, then we'll do a senior salute for that person. And I think that's one of the things that will help this nation and this community to continue to have strength.
Yes.
That's where it comes from when we say the strength of the nation is found in the service of her communities. Okay. So with that said, so now how do people get to you to talk about focus to hypnosis and the smoking cessation service?
The way they can get a hold of me is through my telephone number, 562 209 2804.
Okay.
Or through email, focus to hypnosis at gmail.com. And my website is being developed as we speak, so hopefully that'll be up and running real soon, where you can go and actually take a look at the programs I offer. One of the things I wanted to say too about smoking and stop smoking, that's one of the biggest obstacles that a lot of people face in their life. And oftentimes they believe that they can't do it. So what I love about the process is once they stop smoking, you know, it kind of energizes you and it empowers you to say, I can do anything
Right.
that I put my mind to,
right.
and get a plan and execute that plan.
Right.
Because it frees you. It frees you to say that, you know, this piece of paper and shredded tobacco no longer has control over my life. So it actually puts you in a position to be more in control of your life and the ripple effect,
Yeah.
you know.
And you notice that it's one of those questions that's on significant questionnaires. Like you go to do health insurance, do you smoke?
Do you smoke?
Okay. You get ready to join certain organizations or things like that. It's like, do you smoke?
Do you smoke?
Okay. Professionals, do you smoke? Okay. So it's interesting that a product that grows naturally can be manipulated so that it would cause so much damage.
Yeah. And that's part of what we talk about is so much stuff is added to a cigarette.
Right.
You know, carbon monoxide, ammonia. They have all kind of acids.
Right.
Or as a formaldehyde that they use in an embalming fluid. And when you start to look at all the stuff that's in your cigarette, because we know that it's not good for us, but a lot of times you really don't know like what's in it. And when you smoking and you realize that that's what you're inhaling into your lungs, and that's why. So it's one thing for the price of cigarettes, but the cost of smoking.
Yeah. You might be, how do they say it? You may be willing to pay the price, but you're surely not capable of paying the cost.
The cost.
Yeah. Okay. So give us the contact information one more time.
Yeah. Derek Williams, 562-209-2804, and focus the number 2, hypnosis @gmail.com.
Okay. And your office is located in
Long Beach, California, downtown Long Beach.
Okay.
All right. Strong Beach, you know.
Okay.
So you might have to take a little ride if you're in LA.
Yeah. All right. So now, last question: Do you start the class periodically, or is the class a one-on-one session thing, or what is it?
Yeah. The program is one-on-one. It's a one-on-one program because the hypnosis session, and the thing is, some people may do it in group. I don't do it in group because when you're in group, there might be some things you're not willing to share with everybody. So by having that personal one-on-one and us developing that relationship, and the thing is, everything that you share with me is confidential.
Right.
You know, so I can't share it legally.
Okay.
You know, so it's a one-on-one session.
One-on-one session. Okay.
And it starts when you call
Okay.
and sign the contract.
Okay. Well, happy Independence Day to everyone. The 4th of July is coming up. A lot of our guests say, Raymond, I'm going to get with you after the 4th of July. So everybody enjoy yourself on the 4th. However you celebrate it, enjoy yourself on the 4th. Be safe and enjoy yourself. And we look to be right back here with you next week for the Raymond Hall Show. Remember something. Service is not something that you can put off to somebody else. Everybody has their own service that they are responsible for. I camped out at John, the 12th chapter this week, and I kept reading it because something just kept pulling me back to it. John 12 is really all about service. It talks about how Jesus raises Lazarus from the dead. Well, you and I, on this physical planet, we may have someone that is dead to us because of their behavior. But maybe with a different attitude, and maybe that they've learned a little bit that they can be alive again in our lives
Right.
because we had all but counted them dead in our life. And then it talks about Lazarus, and folk wanted to come to see Jesus, but they wanted to see Lazarus too, the man that was raised from the dead. Talked about Martha, and Martha was busy serving. Mary was washing his feet and the alabaster box in the oil. It even got down to Judas. Okay. And I thought about something. Well, why Judas? You know, if you open yourself up to a little bit, that little bit grows. So Judas all the time been taking the money out of the box, been doing the devil's work all the time, taking the money out of the box, until the devil said, well, you done did that much for me, now I'm just going to take over. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Service. It's just got all of these messages of service going on in this chapter. Have some service with your life. You don't know when you're going to come to those last doors like Mr. Joe Freeman Sr. He can rest well because of the work he put in. But when you come to your last doors, when you realize that you walked out of your house for the last time, you didn't know that you was going to walk out of your door for the last time, but you just walked out of your door for the last time. Somebody's going to roll you into a mortuary because you're not going to walk in there. They're going to roll you into a mortuary for the first time and roll you out for the first time, and those first times are going to be the last time. The door of the dirt that goes on our casket. Last doors. The service of you and I is required, and it's not required for you and I, it's required for those to come after us. God bless you. Have a good day, and we hope to see you back here next week on the Raymond Hall Show. And Mr. Williams, one more time, give him that
562-209-2804. Focus, the number 2, hypnosis@gmail.com.
Thank you very much, my friend.
Thank you for having me, sir.
God bless you. Have a good day. We'll have a good weekend, good holiday. God bless you. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.